The Afghan government claims that the Taliban have offered a 3-month ceasefire in exchange for the prisoners to be released. The government says the insurgents also asked for the removal of their leaders from the United Nations blacklist.
In a press briefing, Kabul's negotiator Nadir Nadiri termed the proposal a big demand. The Taliban have not commented on this statement yet, but earlier the group welcomed the British Defence Secretary's remarks that London will work with the Taliban should they come to power. In a tweet, spokesperson Suhail Shaheen said the Taliban are committed to international principles and will not allow Afghan soil to be used against any country. Meanwhile, a high-powered Afghan government delegation is set to resume talks with the Taliban in Doha. The delegation includes the head of Afghanistan's Reconciliation Council, Abdullah Abdullah, and former President Hamid Karzai. Pakistan's information minister said Islamabad will also host an Afghan peace conference. Prime Minister Imran Khan held a telephonic conversation with former Afghan President Hamid Karzai.
And for more on this, we have with us Mr. Einar Tenjin from Beijing. Mr. Tenjin, thank you very much for your time at Indus News. Firstly, the regional countries around Afghanistan seem to be taking the lead in brokering peace, with Russia, China and Pakistan offering facilitation. So does that mean that the US-led effort has completely failed and become irrelevant?
Well, it's failed and become irrelevant, but remember, the United States broke Afghanistan. It's now leaving the cleanup to the regional players. It's a highly unstable situation. The U.S. has invested $2 trillion directly and will cost in total about $4 trillion. So walking away is defeat. But strategically, there are people in Washington who are saying we're going to put this mess on Russia, China, Pakistan, and all the rest of the surrounding neighbors' plate. So right now it has become a regional issue, and it's going to have to be settled that way.
So, Mr. Tenjin, why has former President Hamid Karzai sprung into a leading role all of a sudden after staying in the shadows for a good while?
Well, quite frankly, they were uncertain about what was going to happen in terms of the actual timing. But now, as it becomes clear that the Taliban, or the collection of entities known as the Taliban, are closing in, I think he is trying to figure out some way in which he can plead the case, not only for himself, but also for the rest of his administration. Otherwise, there's an oncoming bloodbath that could occur.
Mr. Tenjin, talking specifically about the refugees, Pakistan already houses over 3 million Afghan refugees. More are spilling over into Tajikistan amid the ongoing fighting. Should the UN not be proactively handling the refugee situation instead of being a reactionary body only?
Well, what the United Nations should be doing and what they're actually doing is being hamstrung by players, especially the United States, who is not interested in doing anything more on this particular issue. As I said, they are strategically happy that they have left their mess on everyone else's plates. Getting the United Nations involved is not going to be on the top of their priority right now. Biden is interested in the upcoming elections next year, so he can get enough traction and votes for his domestic agenda. The international agenda, what happens to the Afghan people, what happens to the area, whether or not this spins out of control, it seemingly is not any concern of his administration.
Mr. Einar Tenjin, thank you very much for talking to Indus News. We really appreciate that.